Welcome to Kevin and Brian's Horror Bulletin podcast, where every week we discuss some horror news, a Universal Studios classic picture, a older movie, a very new movie, and a short, quite often off of YouTube, but a short of horror. And this is from the Vampire's Crypt, right?
The very well lit Vampire's Crypt.
Yeah, they're out right now, so we're good.
This week, after the news, we'll cover the Universal Studios movie, The Black Cat, from 1934. There's been lots of versions of that. The contemporary classic, The Skin I Live In, from 2011, and discussion of the short film Affirmations, and the recent Death House from 2017. Turn up the volume and lean in close.
Here we go. But first, the news. And the first item we have is The Box is coming back shiny and new. There is a new Hellraiser project in the works. It's official with the Dark Knight writer David S. Goyer is on the case. Being revived through Gary Barber's Spyglass Media Group. And Barber described the project as a loyal yet evolved reimagining of the 1987 version. So it sounds like it's going to be a reboot.
Evolved?
An evolved imagining. Well,
I don't know how you update that.
It's been 30 years, so, I don't know, technology.
What, is the box digital now?
They'd have cell phones. They didn't have cell phones then. I don't know.
Phone call from hell.
But it will be featuring the Cenobite Pinhead, our favorite one. Probably not Doug Bradley. Maybe.
Probably not. It could be.
Could be, yeah. So after 9 other movies, plus graphic novels and all sorts of media things.
Some of which were good.
Yeah. Not all of them, but some of them, yeah. So they're going to redo it. Then we get to have 9 more movies after that. Yeah.
Could be good.
Yeah. We've got a link to the Variety.com story that talks more about that.
Yep. Last week we watched The Invisible Man from 1934, and just coincidentally, TalkiesNetwork.com reports that Storm Reid will officially join Elisabeth Moss as a co-star in the remake of The Invisible Man in the works. Director Leigh Whannell from Upgrade will be weaving a tale centered on Moss's Celia, who, after hearing about the news of her abusive ex-boyfriend's suicide, attempts to rebuild her life for the better. But she begins to suspect he's not really dead. Maybe he's just invisible. We can't wait to see how it compares to the original, but that's all we know for now.
For now. It's coming.
She just can't catch a break.
No.
From The Handmaid's Tale to The Invisible Man.
One thing after another. And putting the GRIMM back in the Brothers Grimm, a new translation of the classic fairy tales restores the glorious blood and horror of the originals. In never before published in English, the first edition of the tales from 1812 is an unsanitized version with princes impregnating, not just rescuing their princesses, and parents trying to murder and eat their children, and children killing each other. All kinds of fun things. Such as the charming tale, How the Children Played at Slaughtering, which is exactly what it sounds like from the description, along with 155 other stories with many illustrations, full of murder, suicide, crime, mutilations, monsters, assaults, and chaos. Just a thing for bedtime stories. Yeah, soothing your child to sleep. Well, it might not be the best thing for your kids, but we might want to check it out for ourselves.
I already did. I bought it a little while ago for Kindle.
It's only 49 cents on Kindle.
49 cents.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
But it's available in all formats: paperback, hardcover, audio.
Can't go wrong with 49 cents, though.
Yeah.
It's quite a bit more for audio and hardback.
We've got a link to the Guardian story that gives more details, and a link to the Amazon purchase site. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a classic.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of a classic, the dawn of a new era has begun in the text-based zombie apocalypse.
Apocalypse?
They all did there.
Yeah, apocalypse.
The text-based zombie apocalypse game, Zapoko. Zapico?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a zombie game.
It's a
After
zombie
a year
game.
of existence, this might be the perfect time to make a start if you've never played. Been around for a year, but they've just reset everything. On Wednesday, May 8th, player stats were reset and new features were released. It's free to sign up and play on this online web browser-based game. Nothing to install here.
No?
You can fight other players, train, create and upgrade your safe house, scavenge, explore, acquire items, and fight for your life. It looks very professional and well put together. Give it a try at zapoco.com, link in the show notes, and let us know what you think.
Yeah, let us know. I looked at it. I didn't try it yet, but I might. But, yeah, convince me. Yeah. Yeah.
And lastly, last week was the trailer for Paramount's Sonic the Hedgehog, completely not meant to be a horror film. The first live-action movie adaptation of the Sega video game franchise. This week, YouTube's Noobmaster69 has re-edited the Sonic trailer with splices of clips from Brightburn to make a very effective horror-tinged version.
Sonic the Demon.
With his super speed abilities and unstoppable electromagnetic bursts, will the world survive Sonic? Watch and decide.
That version, maybe not. Yeah.
Well, actually, I did hear, in all seriousness, that fans reacted so badly to the trailer, they're going to go back and redo most of the Sonic shots.
Oh, like with his teeth and his legs were funny
too
or something?
scary and creepy looking. They're going to change it to be more cartoony, I guess.
More benign.
And yeah, he is kind of creepy looking. A little blue man kind of thing. And Sonic the Hedgehog is, a round hedgehoggy critter.
Yeah, cute and huggable.
Yeah, and this thing's not.
Yeah.
Especially in the version we're talking about.
Yeah, it's worth checking out. Yeah.
Well, as usual, we watched a Universal Studios classic movie this week, and next one in order is 1934's The Black Cat.
And it is, inspired by a Poe story? It's like somebody said Edgar Allan Poe in the next room.
They use
while
the
they
word
were
suggested
writing.
by.
Suggested by, yeah. It's got nothing to do with the Edgar Allan
Nothing
Poe story.
whatsoever.
Yeah, nothing.
Directed by Edgar Ulmer, written by Edgar Ulmer and Peter Rurik, suggested by a story by Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah.
Starring Boris Karloff, Bela Lugosi, David Manners, and Julie Bishop. 65 minutes.
Very short.
Blissfully short.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right.
I liked it.
You liked it. Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. and Mrs. Allison are on a train to Budapest for their honeymoon. If I'm going to go on a honeymoon, Budapest is
That's
quite
your
far
number
down
one,
on the list.
number one romantic destination. Maybe it was more, in 1934. Maybe it was more of a thing.
It's probably worse. Dracula was still alive in 1934.
Yeah.
There's been a mistake, and they have to share their cabin with Dr. Vertigast, Bela Lugosi.
Who isn't a vampire in this one.
No. He's actually the good guy. Sorta.
It's complicated. Yeah.
He's been a prisoner of war for 15 years, but he's finally back.
He's coming home.
They arrive yellow ribbon time.
Yeah, not quite.
It's a black and white movie. It's black ribbon.
No yellow ribbons. Yeah.
They arrive at the station and transfer to a bus. The bus driver runs off the road and he's killed in a wreck.
You know what? It was a dark and stormy night. Again.
But it's not raining when they get to the house.
No.
They make off on foot
Yeah.
towards a big house on the hill.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a very futuristic looking house, or at least what passed for futuristic in 1934.
It's huge. It's very high tech.
Shiny metal walls. If Robbie the Robot had walked through, it would have looked
he would have fit right in there. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Mrs. Allison was injured in the wreck, but Vertigast, the doctor, fixes her up. Polzig, played by Boris Karloff, enters the room looking creepy as ever, although he does look human in this one.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
He and Vertigast argue. Polzig had the house built on the site of a huge, deadly battle where Vertigast was taken prisoner. He wants to kill Polzig's soul, but slowly. He doesn't want to kill him. He wants to destroy his soul.
Yes, because he suffered for 15 years. He was his commanding officer. And
Karloff was Lugosi's commanding officer.
Right, yeah.
Karloff got away. He escaped and lived high on the hog for 15 years while Lugosi rotted in prison.
Yeah, so he's a little bitter. But it's a weird kind of bitter. He's a very polite bitter.
They're very polite.
Very polite, yeah.
They get ready to argue, but Allison walks in and they all get much more friendly.
Mm.
As the three men talk, a black cat wanders into the room. Vertigast recoils with a look of terror on his face. Picture Dracula backing off from garlic, that kind of thing.
Yeah, from Wolfsbane.
And he reaches down and grabs a knife that happens to be laying there and throws it at the cat and kills the cat. Mrs. Allison comes in during all of this.
Good shot, yeah.
And Polzig explains that Vertigast has an extreme cat phobia. Is this cat phobia ever explained?
No.
No,
it's not.
It's a reason to have a cat in the movie.
Yeah, a black cat. Because it's the title.
Yeah, they had to have a cat somewhere.
That's where the black cat plays in.
Does this black cat ever turn up again in the movie?
It does. Yes, it does.
In an important way?
No.
No.
It runs across a couple times.
Yeah.
Look, a black cat, just like the title.
But they kill the cat here, and then later we see the cat running around again. So
well, and Karloff says something about,
one.
There's some supernatural force, and you just can't kill this cat. It's got 9 lives, and
and the relevance of that is a big zero also.
Yeah.
A lot of things happen in this for kind of no reason.
Kinda, yeah.
So they all turn in for the night in adjoining rooms. Kind of everybody's got the rooms connected, which is kind of creepy in itself.
They're like those hotel rooms that have another door between them.
If all the hotel rooms were connected.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Polzig walks through his museum of women under glass. What do you think that was about?
Oh, wasn't it just one woman under glass?
It looked to me like there was more than one. He had a collection.
Well,
maybe not. Maybe it was just the one.
I think it was just the one.
The way it was filmed, it looks like he had a whole museum full of them.
No, I think it was just
now
the
that
one.
I think about it, it probably was just the one.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's got a woman under glass.
Yeah.
She's dead, maybe? We don't know at this point, but she's behind this... Well, the actress
looks
inside
like a display
is not.
case. Yeah,
she's
display
hanging
case.
on wires, sort of levitating in this glass coffin. Vertically.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he releases the not at all dead cat, and then confronts Vertigast and Allison. Mr. Allison. Did we ever catch his first name? Mr. Allison?
Yes, that is Peter. Yeah, it's okay. Peter and Joan. Or is the couple.
Vertigast insists on seeing his dead wife, who well, he doesn't know he's dead. She's dead. Who Polzig seduces after he wound up in prison.
Yeah, another reason for him to be bitter. He went to prison, and the host here, Boris Karloff, seduced and won over his wife, and raised his daughter, while he's in prison.
Yeah,
so, yeah, he's a little bitter.
Stole his family.
Yeah, but Karloff scared. Holjamar? How you say that?
Polzig.
No, Jolmar.
Who?
Oh, that's his first name.
Okay.
Jolmar. I got his first name. Jolmar. It's Hjal.
Very strange.
They're strange names and
names.
hard to pronounce. Yeah. Well, he tells him that his wife died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they head down deep down into
daughter.
the tunnels beneath the house.
And his daughter's dead too. He tells him.
They see Vertigast's wife, who died of pneumonia many years ago. She's preserved in a glass coffin.
Yeah, she's the woman
she's
on display.
The one.
He preserved her.
Vertigast then pulls out a gun to kill Polzig. But at that moment, another cat shows up. And he freaks out.
Mm-hmm. Saves the day.
Yeah. The two agree to have a duel after the Allisons leave.
It's a very polite...
very
polite grudge they have going on.
I will kill you. All right, how about Tuesday at noon?
Yes, it's an appointment.
Polzig goes to bed, and he lays down next to Vertigast's daughter, who is very much not dead, although he claimed that she was.
Yeah.
He settles in for a little bit of light reading. The Rites of Lucifer. I mean, I always read that before bed. I probably would if I had a copy.
The first foreshadowing that he's a Satanist. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Vertigast claims that Polzig plans to keep the Allisons there indefinitely. And they play chess with her life as the stakes. Polzig wins, which means he gets to keep her.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Allison is knocked out, and the missus faints on the spot. They lock Mr. Allison in a very cool rotating dungeon cell.
The inner wall rotates.
Yeah, like
very,
being
very
inside
cool
of
design.
a can that has a hole in the side. You turn this way, there's no way you're getting out.
He built the house on top of the old fort, and a lot of the underground part of the fort is still there, including the cell.
Yeah.
And something else that happens at the end is part of the fort, too.
So, Mr. Allison rots in the cool dungeon. Polzig plays organ music. And it's, what is that, Mozart? Beethoven?
Yeah, Toccata and Fugue in D minor.
There you go, right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the classic.
Yeah, that's where that comes from.
Yeah.
So while this is happening, Vertigast explains to Mrs. Allison that Polzig is a Satanist, and she's going to be the sacrifice.
And guests start arriving.
Yeah.
Satanists who are going to join in the sacrifice, join in the ceremony.
Karen Vertigast, the daughter, walks into Mrs. Allison's room, and they talk about Karen's father not being dead, as she was told. She thought he was dead, too.
Yeah.
And she goes back into her room and screams a little bit. That evening, the rest of the Satanists drop by for a ritual. I guess they brought party food or something.
Yeah.
Vertigast and his servant steal the unconscious Mrs. Allison, just as Mr. Allison lets himself out of prison.
Yeah, it was a wimpy prison cell.
He does something and turns the cage around. He unlocks the locked door, and he gets out all by himself.
You're able to open it from the inside.
And this looks like a really secure prison if you're not totally stupid.
But, you just rotate the thing and hit the buttons, and the door pops right open.
Yeah, so he just let himself out of prison.
Yeah.
Vertigast finds that his daughter has just died. They're all standing there in this ritual, and she just, plunk, falls over.
Happens.
We don't know why.
Yeah.
And then he and Polzig fight. He locks Polzig up with chains and skins him alive. Some violence, finally. Mr. Allison shoots Vertigast in the back, but before he dies, Vertigast ignites the dynamite under the house. Where did this dynamite come from? It was never mentioned.
There's a switch on the wall. And he asks him, it's the red switch, isn't it? And he throws, that gives us 5 minutes before the dynamite explodes and destroys us all.
There's dynamite built into the foundations of the house.
The fort had a self-destruct.
There's no explanation of this. It's just there at the end.
But the young couple flees, they get away, everybody else dies.
Yeah.
In the horrible explosion at the end,
Well.
Yeah, there's something. Although overall I liked it. I really enjoyed seeing the two of them, Karloff and yeah.
Which I guess they did work a lot together after this.
Yeah, this was their first time. But
Yeah.
They were masters together.
I have some questions.
Really?
Well, first of all, almost at exactly halfway through the film, it started to drag.
A little bit.
I thought it got a little boring in the middle. The ending
needed more violence. Yeah, they were too polite. Everything was very polite.
These are civilized people.
Yeah, it certainly was.
The conclusion was just a bunch of stuff thrown together and feels far too rushed.
Yeah.
It could have taken more time to explain why there was dynamite in the foundation. Why did Karen die?
They had plenty of time. It was only 65 minutes.
Where did all those Satanists go?
Oh, yeah. They just
There was like a dozen or more.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden they're not there anymore. Yeah.
Who builds a self-destruct device into their own home?
It was
Why
the
did
fort.
Karen
It was
just
the
fall
original
over
fort
dead?
design had a self-destruct for some reason. In case the enemy overruns the fort, you could destroy it.
So he built his home on a 20-year-old dynamite stash.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. That was the fort. That was the original fort basement where that was. He didn't add
It'd be like building a giant church over a pit of wildfire. Who would do this?
Who would do that? Yeah.
Okay, was Vertigast's servant a yellow-faced actor?
He was. Yes. And actually...
This is back in the days before they could hire real Chinese people to play Asians.
He was Harry Cording. I actually looked up... who played the vaguely Asian manservant. He was a white guy in yellow face.
Yeah, you could tell that's what he was supposed to be.
He has 287 IMDb credits from 1925 to 1955, and it's all bit parts and non-speaking roles, where he was just henchmen and servants and whatever. I don't know how many times he did yellowface, but
people nowadays get
but
all
he made a
kinds of
career
criticism for blackface. Yellowface, you hear some criticism over that, but it's not the same anymore.
Not as much.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if this movie would be, if it were more popular, would be banned because of that. It's really it's not a super minor character. He does speak.
He does have a few lines, and he's on screen a lot. Yeah.
I don't know.
No.
What do you think? Let us know.
Yeah.
Why did Vertigast wait until there were more than a dozen Satanists standing around to make his move when he'd been alone with Polzig all afternoon? There's no logic to any of this. The sets were cool, and Karloff definitely looked like a creepy satanic architect.
Yes, he did. They were both good at this. So I have to give it a fairly high rating because of them, the set. Oh, there was a soundtrack, too. This was an innovation at the time.
Real music.
They finally had a full soundtrack all the way through. And that was a big deal back then. 1934 was
Well, you get movies like
new
Frankenstein that had no music,
Yeah.
and Dracula that had none.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
So anyway, overall I give it a thumbs up. Not a strong thumbs up, because the story was kind of weak and weird. But
the ending made no real sense.
yeah.
Middle of the road, 5 of 10.
Oh, yeah, I give it a 7 out of 10. 7.
Okay. It's certainly not the worst we've seen.
No. I was entertained.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
What about the next movie? Our modern contemporary classic, The Skin I Live In.
The Skin I Live In.
I'd never seen this before. I was totally unfamiliar with it. It's a Spanish movie, subtitled.
And it starts out that it's in Toledo, 2012. And I was thinking, boy, that 2012 Toledo, it looks awfully European. Oh, it's a city in Spain.
That other Toledo. Not Toledo, Ohio.
Toledo, Spain. Well, they do speak Spanish. It's we watched a subtitled version because we don't speak Spanish very
Directed by Pedro Almodovar, written by Thierry Jonquit, and stars Antonio Banderas, I can pronounce his name, Elena Anaya, and Jan Cornet. And it is exactly 2 hours and subtitled. I don't know if there's a dubbed version out there. We watch subtitled. Usually that's better if you got the choice.
So it starts out with Vera Cruz, who is a pampered, shut-in prisoner of some kind. She seems to... all her needs are being met, but she clearly is locked into a room. A very
She doesn't seem unhappy.
luxurious room. She doesn't seem unhappy. It's a very big, beautiful house. And she has a very big room to herself. And she's on camera. And
he's
we
watching
don't know,
her.
Yeah, we don't know why. It's not really explained at first. It unfolds.
Antonio Banderas plays Dr. Ledgard, who specializes in face transplants. He's given this lecture where he explains about how he's developed this special skin. But first, he brings some opium in for Vera, but finds that Vera has attempted suicide. So she's not that happy in this little room.
Yeah.
He fixes her up, but she's concerned about how long will it all last.
And it was more of a symbolic.
She wasn't really trying that
She wasn't.
hard.
She wasn't trying. She wasn't trying hard.
Drama suicide?
Yeah.
Afterwards, he goes back to his lab and continues his work. He's attempting to make synthetic skin.
He specializes in burn damage,
Yeah.
burn reconstruction, and
This new skin that he's designed is fireproof and insect bite proof. It's super durable because he's modified it with pig DNA. The other scientists order him to stop his experiments, and no one knows about Vera. And already I'm thinking, oh, it's Frankenstein. He's built her.
Yeah, he built her from spare parts or built her in the lab or something. But it's funny because he doesn't. He presents it to his colleagues that I did this on mice. And they're impervious to insect bites, and just think how glorious
they freaked out over the mice.
They freaked out over just mice. So, he keeps Vera a secret. He doesn't mention, well, I did it on a human. Yeah, because they freak out. Because it's transgenetics, and that's a no-no. And he's mixing human and animal DNA, and you're not supposed to do that. Yeah.
Is it really illegal in real life? You can't do cloning.
It varies from place to place.
I assume something like that you probably would be.
It's a no-no. Yeah.
So he goes home where he has a creepy camera in Vera's room where he can watch and zoom in on her.
Yeah, that's kind of neat. He's got, it's like Vera Vision on his wall. Great big screen.
I love that on TV.
Ultra sharp, and she's watching her at first, and I thought it was a one-way mirror, but then he zooms in right on her face. And little creepy.
He keeps her locked in a room in his house. She wants to live with him as an equal, but he won't have it. She's clearly getting tired of whatever their arrangement is. He fires all the servants because they know about her existence.
Except for one.
Except for one.
Yeah, the housekeeper.
Ledgard's servant and secret mother, Maria, says he'll either have to kill Vera or she'll kill herself because she knows this is not going to work out.
Well, he also, she says he'll have to kill her or keep her there forever.
Yeah.
He'll never be able to let her go.
Maria's estranged son comes to visit, and it comes out that he robbed a jewelry store the previous night. He wants Robert to change his face, and he might blackmail Robert to do it. He also sees Vera on the camera. They have security cameras right there in the kitchen where they can watch her.
And he says, it's her. It looks just like her.
He attacks and ties up Maria, grabs the key, and opens Vera's door. He recognizes her since he's the one who set her on fire the first time.
Well, it was an accident. They were in a car accident. And she got trapped in the car.
The mother blames him.
Or that's what he thinks, that how is this possible that you're back, and so, but he assaults her.
They have sex while Maria watches on the monitor. She's tied to a chair with a gag in her mouth, and she's watching the whole thing.
Yeah, it's not a consensual.
No. Well,
she's not into it.
No.
Vera's not on board with it at all. But Zika insists. Well, guess who comes home?
Robert comes home and catches them in the act.
Yeah.
He shoots Zika in the back, but not Vera. Although Maria's downstairs saying, kill them both, kill them both.
Yeah, and there was a moment where he had the gun held on Vera, where he was considering doing it. You could see it.
He's thinking about it.
Yeah, and he just killed Zika. Yeah.
Later, while Robert disposes of the body, Maria tells Vera the story about how Zika and Gal, Robert's wife, ran off together, and she burned to death in a car crash. Gal, she didn't burn to death. She burned badly.
She burned badly.
She's a mess.
Severely, yeah.
Gal started to recover eventually, but she was so scarred when she saw her reflection, she killed herself. So she didn't die in the crash. She killed herself.
Robert's widower is the official story.
Yeah.
And yet he's having a relationship with Vera now. And
who looks a lot like her.
Who is Vera?
Yeah. After Robert and Vera have sex, we're treated to a number of flashbacks. It's a tale of date rape and body transformation. The flashback takes about an hour of the film, and eventually we work back to the present, where lies and betrayal are still normal. And this is,
weird
the flashbacks start about 40 minutes in, and all the flashbacks, like I said, takes about an hour. So it's a big flashback.
Yeah, it is. Long movie.
2 hours.
Did it feel like a long movie to you?
I was entertained all the way through. I did not get bored.
Yeah.
There was a long while I had no idea what was going on.
Yeah.
But it all made sense in the end.
Yeah, it does. Everything is explained, which I thought was really well done. How they are able to start with it, like, what? Who is she? Why is she? What's going on? And by the end, it's all clear.
Yeah, it all makes sense.
Yeah, really good.
This didn't go at all as I expected, and that's a good thing. I'm not sure if I'd even call this a horror film.
Yeah.
Except maybe a surgical thriller.
It's a thriller, for sure. Yeah.
It was well filmed, looked great, and kept my interest throughout.
Love his house.
Oh, yeah.
It's a big old castle of a house, yeah.
At the very least, it was a change from monsters and slashers, and I do recommend it.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
7 or 8 out of 10.
I'd give it an 8.
Okay.
Yeah. One thing that disappointed me, though, the skin, he mentioned it's impervious and insects can't bite it, and he demonstrates that it doesn't burn. And
he takes a blowtorch and sticks it on her leg, and she doesn't feel it.
Yeah, it doesn't burn the skin. But they never go anywhere with that.
I was expecting like a superhero fight halfway through.
No,
not really.
That was a little disappointing that she doesn't actually put that to use in any way. Yeah, that's not really a big part of the story. No. But all in all, thumbs up.
Yeah. Okay, and before we move on, we have a message. 13 short tales of terror, ranging from classic tales of supernatural revenge to serial-killing clowns, alien menaces, and demons. Even death incarnate makes an appearance. If you enjoyed collections of short horror fiction when you were young, you'll enjoy these more grown-up tales. Definitely not for children. Inside, you'll find When the Clown Comes Calling, Menace in the Mural, Delivering the Demon, Silent Flight, Prisoner 2, Druid on My Doorstep, Dreamcatcher, How I Killed Grandma, or What I Did Over Summer Break, You'll Die Alone, The Hypnotist, The Secret, as well as the all-new Terror on the Appalachian Trail, written exclusively for this collection. Also included is the first installment in the Necropolitan Police series, The Ghoul. Written by Brian Schell, available at Amazon and wherever good books are sold.
And we're back.
Did we watch a short film this week?
We did watch one called Affirmations. What was it, almost 14 minutes long? 13
13
and a half.
plus, yeah. Seemed like an hour and a half at least.
Well, at the end I said, "Oh, come on."
Literally.
Yeah, that's my actual quote.
The security guard goes to work, sits down, and turns on her guided meditation CD.
She's pregnant. She's getting in touch with her unborn baby.
She looks all through the building, and there's no one there. She verifies that it's all abandoned.
It's a restaurant.
Yeah.
Or food place of some kind.
Convenience store.
Yeah. Well,
She
there's
dozes
tables for seating, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She dozes off and dreams that she finds a strange woman giving birth to a pig in the storeroom. She wakes up and leaves, not realizing that it was all real. Now, I usually say it's 13 minutes. It's a good investment. Watch this. I'm not going to say that this time.
I can't say
It was
that
about
this
15
time.
minutes too long, boring as hell, and made no sense.
Wow.
Do not watch this video.
Even harsher than I was going to go on it, but
1 star
Yeah.
out of whatever scale you can think of.
he ain't wrong. He's
Top
just,
that.
He ain't wrong. He's just harsh. It had good cinematography.
It was shot in the dark. It
shot
made
in the-
Game of Thrones look like sunny daytime stuff.
It was awfully dark.
It was black all the way
The
through
parts
with a
you
few
could
white
see,
spots.
the parts you could see had good cinematography. Yeah, can't recommend this one. I'm sorry.
Out of all the shorts we have seen in the past 22 weeks, this is the one. Don't watch it. Don't watch it. There's a link in the show notes if you're really sadistic, though.
But we're gonna show it. We're gonna let you watch it. Decide for yourself. Maybe you'll love it. Maybe you'll at least like it. We didn't care for it.
Comment on the show notes one way or the other.
Yeah, we'd appreciate hearing from you on this one. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what's worse than the video we just saw?
At least the video we just saw didn't make me angry.
Unlike Death House,
Death
from
House,
2017.
2017.
It's available now for free on Netflix, or you can buy it from Amazon. It's been out for about a year, and this thing was advertised as the Expendables of Horror. If you read the credits list, it's got 24 people that names you're probably going to recognize.
From
you watch it,
horror
there's
stuff,
faces
yeah.
you're going to recognize.
Some big names, some smaller ones, like Tony Todd, Dee Wallace,
Kane Hodder. Yeah, a lot of people.
Sid Haig.
Sid Haig. Yeah.
Sid Haig, yeah. And others you'll recognize. And
So the cast list on this is one of the best cast lists we've ever seen for a movie. That's why we watched it. We had to see how all this worked out.
yeah, it was going to be brilliant. Having all these people in one movie, that's amazing.
Directed by Harrison Smith,
amazing.
written by Gunnar Hansen, Leatherface himself, and Harrison Smith. Starring Cody Longo, Courtney Palm, Adrienne Barbeau, and a whole list of famous horror icons. 1 hour and 35 minutes.
Yeah.
This one starts out with Tony Todd and his prisoner, a girl whom he reaches inside, and I think he pulls out a fetus, because he's talking about farming. But I'm not sure. He reaches in her belly and pulls out something. The title's...
But it didn't leave a wound. It's like the
like one of those faith healer kind of
transgressive,
guys.
transmutational healers that reach in.
We'll explain what that's all about when we find out.
We never do.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's a mystery.
Well, and there's a grate in the ground where lots of noises, screaming, and it turns out that that's the prison. That's like
maybe.
I think so.
I think so.
Yeah.
So that's like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Then the titles come up, and the scene changes to show 2 FBI agents, Agent Boone and Novak, who are touring or evaluating or something a special high-security prison known as the Death House, where the worst of the worst of the worst are kept.
Science fiction-y. It's got a very science fiction vibe to it. Very late 80s science fiction vibe.
Possibly X-Files-y, but more science fiction-y than real.
But very retro. A lot of it was retro-y, the graphics and the feel of it. Yeah.
Boone sees the man, played by Danny Trejo?
Trejo.
The machete guy.
Yeah, machete.
That killed her mother, and she shoots him dead. This is her reward for a job well done. And all he says as he dies is, "Free them."
Don't know what that means.
Novak watches a female version of Leatherface, whose mind is going to be reprogrammed to make her safe.
That's what this prison is about. Dee Wallace is the specialist who reprograms these prisoners' mind. They basically wipe everything, all the memories that are there, and put in good memories, and then they're a good person, and then they can be rehabilitated.
Dee Wallace is walking these two through, explaining everything to them. Mm-hmm. Then there's a doctor, played by Barbara Crampton, who has a whole room full of people sedated on curare that she keeps in a perpetual state of sedation to break down their personalities before replacing them. Mm-hmm. The prison is broken into 9 levels, and on the 9th level are the 5 evils that are confined in virtual environments that keep the prisoners calm.
Is that a Dante thing with
the 9 hells, the 9 levels of hell?
Yeah, they were playing on that.
Yeah, clearly. Yeah. Uh-huh. And then we see a report on each of these 5 people, and they're mostly horror icons themselves. Mm-hmm. Did Michael Berryman ever even say a word?
He did. He said a few.
Did he speak?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought he was just there to look pretty.
No.
All right. He got like 3rd billing, so I was expecting more out of him.
No, not much. But
he's never really done much. He just looks scary.
Yeah.
You get him for the face.
Yeah, pretty much.
So then we see a report on each of the 5, and they're sort of like evil superheroes almost. Especially in the end where you see them in their uniforms.
Yeah, they've got uniforms.
Like Green Lanterns or something.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, an evil's child stabs a guard outside, pulls out some of his guts, and inserts a blinking object.
We don't
Who's
know
the
what
kid?
That's about.
We don't know.
We don't know.
Then,
a lot of it's not explained.
Then we see Boone and Novak showering together and admiring each other's tattoos for no particular reason. They don't remember much about their own pasts. At this point, we're already suspecting that these are prisoners that have been reprogrammed, because they've been talking about overriding prisoners with good people.
Yeah, and they've got memories, but they don't quite fit together. And,
something's not right.
Yeah.
After that, we get a demonstration of the mind-wiping process on Kane Hodder. Then we meet the 3 Satans. 3 different guys, all with the same delusion.
One who thinks he is Satan, one is the son of Satan, and one who made Satan.
Yeah.
And none of them think that the other 2 are real.
Yeah,
they're quite a trio.
Yeah.
it had amusing moments.
And they're all kept in a cell together because somebody has a bad sense of humor.
Well, the doctor thought that this would help the 3 of them deal with their own, if they're dealing with each other all day. And it had interesting moments like that one.
Yeah. Dr. Redmayne likes her job a little too much. Suddenly, the power goes off. Turns out that guard had an EMP bomb placed inside his guts.
Yeah, they're operating in the prison surgical ward.
They explain somewhere that the 9 levels of this place is like 2 miles deep, and yet all the power goes out everywhere.
And it's this little teeny device.
Yeah, it's a golf ball.
Yeah. Boom, and total blackout. They're operating on batteries and backup power. Yeah.
And then things get weird because all the power's out. All the doors open after a few minutes. There's supposed to be poison gas to flood the whole place, and it doesn't work. And basically, at that point, we follow Dee Wallace and the 2 FBI agents as they try to escape
and
being slaughtered.
Yeah. They get trapped in an elevator to start with, and they get out of the elevator, and then they go to various places. And Dee Wallace takes them to a cell where, this cell will be safe, because there's these 7 prisoners. We don't know what happened to them, but they're like kind of melting, half-dead zombie people. And they hang out with them for a while, but then that gets too intense and too weird. So then they continue on fleeing through the prison. And it almost, you know what it reminded me of sometimes, like a
haunted house.
A fun house, a haunted house. They go from here's you turn the corner and here's this exhibit of slimy melding
That's
people.
basically they went from one area of gore effects to another.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
One room had a bunch of zombie-looking people in it. One people had those chemical rejects you're talking about.
One was cannibals.
Cannibals.
One was,
yeah. Bodies hanging from the roof. How did they get up there in that amount of time? We don't know.
Yeah, we don't know.
We don't know a lot of things about this movie because nothing is ever explained. There's no resolution. The 5 evils at the end, all they want to do is escape.
And they're not really evil.
You can't have good without evil.
Yeah, they have a long explanation of how they're not really evil.
But they are.
But they are, but they're not. And yeah, it's complicated.
We're evil, but you need us.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is called The Expendables of Horror, as it has a ridiculous number of horror actor cameos from people you'll recognize, and some you won't, from lots of classic horror movies. A lot of the characters seem to exist only for the purpose of being cameos. There's no explanation for nearly anything. There are crazy scientists and superpowered criminals, and 2 FBI agents that may or may not be something special, but we'll never find out for sure. And what the hell was Tony Todd doing?
We don't know.
I told you what happened in the beginning. He pulled that thing out of that woman, and they flash back to him a minute at the end as he loads her into the back of the truck, and she's not happy, and he shuts the door and drives off.
Yeah.
Totally without purpose. This movie has a lot going on, and it's not truly terrible, but there was so much wasted potential that it's the true crime of the movie.
That's the thing that irks me about it. They brought
Wasted
all these
potential.
people together, and that's what you could do with it? Oh, man. Yeah.
If it sounds like something you want to see, I won't say don't see it. It's certainly not the worst movie we've seen this week.
No.
But it's close. It's really kind of truly bad.
Yeah. I don't know what they were trying to accomplish, but they didn't.
3 out of 10. On the low side of it, 2 out of 10.
I give it a 3 because of all the cameos and D. Wallace.
All right, they tried. Give it a 3.
Yeah. D. Wallace bumps a movie 1 automatically. No matter
With a little more explanation, it could have been a lot better. With a little less gore effects, it might have been a little better. Mm-hmm. But it was just
definitely
too
more
much
explanation of what's
too much
going on.
One room to the next.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So bad.
3 out of 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, the sun's coming up again, it looks like.
Vampires are going to want to come back.
They are.
Yeah.
We need to get going so they can get their sleep. Thanks for joining us. Stop in during the week at horrorbulletin.com for news and horror updates, to comment on this podcast, or to contact us. Now, to get ready for next week, we'll be watching, finally, The Bride of Frankenstein, followed by Lovely Molly from 2012, and lastly, a cartoon. Anime, whatever you call it. Constantine, City of Demons from last year. You can pick those up from Amazon. We'll have links in the show notes. Or watch them this week and see if your opinion matches ours when we come back next Friday. Mm-hmm. Check out Twitter feed at Horror Bulletin. And if you get a chance this week, leave us a review on iTunes. Leave us a comment on YouTube. Let us know. We'd like to hear your opinions. Do you agree with our opinions?
We love listener mail.
Are we the dumbest, worst movie critics on the face of the earth? We want to know. Leave a review on iTunes. Leave a comment on the YouTube page. Send us an email if you want to. horrorbulletin@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you one way or the other. Good, bad, or...
ugly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm Brian.
I'm Kevin.
And we'll see you next week.
See ya.